Welcome back to the Horseman's Corner. I'm Howard Hale, host of the program, and let's continue our conversation with Blunt, South Dakota horseman J.D. Lauing. How long have you guys been breeding quarter horses, J.D.?
Oh, my dad raised horses all of his life, but we're nearly at 40 years of breeding registered quarter horses. He's been breeding them longer than that. There was a few years that horse market was down and maybe he didn't register everything or whatever, but I believe it's next year will mark 40 years AQHA registered quarter horses. But otherwise, the horses have been in our family forever. Our ranch has been in the same family, and it's 100 years old this year. And I'm the fourth generation, and every generation on this ranch has raised and used horses for ranch work still.
Well, that gives you kind of a leg up where you have the opportunity to use those horses on the ranch and see how they perform and see how they work in a ranch setting, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And, and then you can take them to the arena. We've sold horses over the years. They go to the arena. They go to all different types of work. Some are trail horses. Some are mounted shooting. Some are rodeo, roping, team roping, pickup horses at pro rodeos, from everything from 4-H and little britches all the way up to the RCA rodeo levels. And then just a lot of good, honest ranch horses.
Do some of the other breeders that have horses in the sale besides you and Sunrise Farm have a preponderance of, maybe some of Sam Schultz breeding of Kisa quarter horses?
Yes. There's Henderson's out in Utah. They've had very good success. They're a ranching family also. They raise cattle. They do some of the mounted shooting. They do some team roping. They have numerous horses that have come from Kisa quarter horses also. Then there's a couple of the other folks that they have stuff that either came from Sam or the folks in Laramie, Wyoming, or grandsons or granddaughters. That whole area. They've picked out some really nice horses too, but for the most part, I think everybody in the sale has get or grandget that have come from Sam at East Quarter Horses.
Yeah, it was an interesting program that he had there, and of course these these particular bloodlines, Blue Fox Hancock has not only done well. Well, he's done well in the show ring, hasn't he?
Oh, he's done very good. He has over 722 AQHA points. When it comes to Blue Valentine horses, they're not necessarily known for the arena type horses all the time. More people take them out, use them because of the size and the bone. He was probably, he is the most, point-winning Blue Valentine or Hancock stallion that I'm aware of with the 722 AQHA points. Mr. Junewood's right there in the same boat. He's the highest percentage driftwood horse that has the show record to prove, or I guess the show record that he has, with the highest percentage. So he's also right there in that same boat. Sam kept the best of the best, and he did not compete in small shows and everything else. He sent them down the road, to compete with some of the best horses out there, to find out if they could do it. And he proved that they could, not only through those stallions, but also through their what they had sired.
A lot of driftwoods in the rodeo arena too, aren't there?
Yes, there are. There's a lot of driftwoods. They've been around for a long time, and they proved to make very good horses.
Hey, when you talk about size and bone on the horses, what size horse are we talking about? What's the range?
Well, they vary. It just depends on the the bloodlines and everything else. But typically, our mares are 15 hands, with the exception of maybe a couple. They're 15 hands to 16 hands. There might be a couple that are a shade bit over 16. There might be a couple that are under that. But for the size that they all have, they have good, heavy bone. I mean, not that they're not fine boned and they're not too heavy where they look like a plow horse, but they have a nice hoof, and decent sized bone. We don't want anything with fine bone, and they all have to have good straight legs. They all have to have a good hoof and everything on them. I mean, that's part of our criteria here. That we've tried to raise good horses for a long time, and I was always taught that if a horse don't have good feet, good bone, good straight legs underneath him, you don't need to look any further.
Well, and that can lead, if they don't have those qualities, that can lead to some rather expensive veterinary bills.
It sure can. They can come up with lameness issues and everything else, easy enough. One slip when you're out using them or whatever, but just to try to keep good feet and good bone on them makes a lot of sense.
Hey, how about the age of these horses when you start them? You start them as 2s or 3s?
Depending on the horse, we'll start them at 2 or 3, either one. Just kind of depending on the horse and when they're ready, physically, mentally, all of that. Don't want to rush them too much, and don't want to, if they're physically not ready, they get a little bit more time. If they're mentally not ready, they get a little bit more time. But that can be just as hard on them, waiting too long or not waiting long enough.
Hey, what about riding horses that you have in the sale? What do you have that's rideable?
We plan on having a couple riders in there this year. One of them that really stands out is a true blue roan 3-year-old one that we raised. He's just, for 3 years old, he is absolutely great. You could put somebody on him from 5 years old to 85 years old, and it doesn't matter if they've rode 5 times or 85 times or if they ride every day. They would get along with him. He's very laid back. He's got the athletic ability. You have to ask him for it, but you could put a hand or a cowboy on him, and you could ask him for it, and he will be able to get it done. Or you could put somebody on him that's not going to ask for a whole lot, and he's not going to do a whole lot. He just has a great mind. He's a great horse to be around. Whatever you want to throw at him, he's comfortable. He's more than happy to do it. He's blue roan, no white on him. I mean, he's the real deal, Howard.
Yeah, it's kind of unusual for a 3-year-old to be to the point where you can safely put a lot of different riders on.
Yeah, it is. But the ones that we keep back for riding, they go through Becky Amiel. She does all of our starting horses. She puts them through her training program, and if something doesn't pan out, she's not afraid to say that it won't work. She puts her name on it. We put our name on it. They got to be the right kind. We're not just selling a horse to sell it to get rid of it. We're selling it to somebody that hopefully that they like it, and they're going to tell their friends about it. And if they're ever looking for another horse, that they're going to come back and buy from us again. So she likes to match the horse to the person, not just to make it sound like the horse matches the person.
Hey, what about mares? Do you ride any of the mares that go into the broodmare band?
Yeah, we ride a bunch of the mares, or some of the mares, I should say. Not all of them have been rode, but either their mother, their sister, and their offspring get rode. Some of these we've been raising for quite a long time, that if we have any sort of problems with them, they don't stick around. I mean, and I've told people before, maybe not every mare has been rode, but some people disagree. But my philosophy behind it is you can take 2 world champions and breed them together, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get the next world champion. That each horse is an individual, and you could take one of those really good mares, and we've had a couple of those before that rode as nice as you wanted to have one ever ride. They just did not produce. Their babies could be a little bit different, a little bit quirkier, a little bit harder to get along with, a little bit ornery or stubborn, and those mares went down the road several years ago. The stuff that we have now, if we start running into those problems, or if people tell us, we keep a close eye on stuff. And like I said, either we've rode the lineage, we've rode those horses, rode their offspring to kind of know where we're at and where we need to be.
Hey, why don't you give us a little more information on the sale again one more time, where it's going to be, what time, and how they can find it on the internet?
Okay, well, the sale is Blue Valentine Driftwood Heritage Production Sale. Pretty easy date to remember. It's on September 11th, 9/11, 2021. So that's same day 20 years ago. The 9/11 happened. It's at the Ozark Empire Fairgrounds in Springfield, Missouri, at the Corwin Arena, and it starts at 11 a.m. The preview is at 9 a.m. We'll have we'll have phone bidding, and we'll have internet bidding through DV Auctions. You can look it up on Facebook through the Blue Valentine Driftwood Heritage Production Sale. It is also on the internet, dvdheritagesale.com. And then you can call any of us on those places. It'll have our phone number, and talk to them. And it's spread out. It's a ways down there, but we tell people we have somebody going to Utah, we have somebody going to Kentucky, we have somebody going back to Alabama, we're coming back to South Dakota, and then there's people that show up that if somebody buys something up in my neck of the woods, I'll haul it back to South Dakota if it's closer for them, and don't charge a thing. If they buy one of my horses and the guy going to Kentucky, if he has room, he hauls it that way. We kind of split stuff up, so we try to get them out of there headed back towards the buyer's place. So if they have to come meet there, or along the way, or have another shipper pick it up from that place, it saves them a little bit of money that way.
And anything else you'd like to add before we conclude this interview?
No, that'd probably be about it.
Well, I hope you have a good sale. Oh, one thing is the weather continuing to be hot and dry in your part of South Dakota?
Well, it's going to be hot all this next week. It's going to be well into the hundreds, and it's been extremely dry. We've had way more days in the hundreds than I like, especially for as dry as it is. And then we have a lot of wind on top of it.
Well, J.D., thanks a lot. J.D. Lauing Ranch at Blunt, South Dakota, producing some Blue Valentine and Driftwood horses, and their sale is on the 11th of September in Missouri. And thanks for being with us, J.D. Always fun to talk to you.
You're welcome. You have a good day, Howard.
J.D. Lauing Ranch at Blunt, South Dakota. Thanks for joining us, and you stay with us. We're going to have more for you in a moment. You're listening to the Horseman's Corner. And you can find out more about that horse sale that they're having on September 11th by going to horsemanscorner.com and typing in BVD. And you'll find it on the auction page as well. So that's really going to be an interesting sale, good sale, interesting breeding program that they have there at the Lauing Ranch. And I hope you'll take advantage of the Horseman's Corner and go visit and look up the information on the sale and look up the other information we have there as well. That's at horsemanscorner.com. Why don't you visit today?